Good morning, I'm Jessica Lovell, and welcome to the Morning Medical Update. In healthcare, we often focus on the treatments, medications, and procedures. But sometimes the most powerful moments in the hospital aren't about medicine at all. They're about human connection, gestures, big and small, that go way beyond doctor's orders. And today, we're sharing the story behind two moments that are more than medicine. First is the surprise party marking 100 days in the hospital for a patient who endured some serious ups and downs. And on the very same day, on the very same floor, a patient's wish was to say, "I do," with dignity. And he did, thanks to the effort of his care team. Here at the desk with me is Dr. Joseph McGurk, the Medical Director of Blood and Marrow Transplant here at the University of Kansas Cancer Center. Also, we have with us Brittany Leiker, Nurse Manager on CA10, the unit where those blood and marrow transplants happen. We do want to let you know that at the time that we captured these stories, we want to tell you that these patients were both very sick patients, and sadly, since then, they have both passed away. But we do want to tell you that it was just so important that we highlighted these patients because they're just such great stories. And we just want to welcome both of you, and we're so glad you're here to talk about them. Dr. McGurk, I hope you don't take any offense when we say that more than medicine. It's a term that we're using because we know that the medicine obviously is so very important and it's the center of what we do. But how special are these kinds of moments in your eyes?
Oh, for me and most of our team members, this is what it's all about. The medicines help us, help patients realize these types of human stories, and they range throughout all of life on this earth, about your grandparents, your parents, your children, your friends, your cousins, and spending quality time with them, whether that's in the hospital, for example, in this situation, celebrating really important occasions, or God willing, that's back home. And no matter what the circumstances are medically, there's a lot more to the story. Medicine is just a tool to get us back to those situations, those in life.
So these wonderful moments are kind of like medicine themselves.
Oh, absolutely.
Brittany, we know when we go up on those floors, I mean, you and your staff, you're already so busy hour to hour with patient care. Mm-hmm. Does it feel like extra work when you're planning a wedding, throwing a surprise party?
I actually think it's the opposite. It doesn't feel like work at all. Those are the moments where we get to fill our cups and pour into our patients in a completely different way. I have a really loving and creative team, and they are all about the surprises and celebrations. So everyone was very happy to do this.
Well, tell us about this party. Why did your team want to celebrate this particular milestone with this particular patient?
Yeah, so the 100-day mark within allo transplants is a huge landmark. That's when we feel like you have progressed to a safer place, hopefully, that you have a more established bone marrow at that point, and you're able to have that milestone to get back to your normal functioning. And we don't get to see patients reach that 100-day mark. They typically discharge, and those milestones are outpatient. With Tom in particular, he had a lot of ups and downs, as you mentioned. He was back and forth between the ICU and had just about every complication we could have anticipated. And so for him to have made to that 100-day mark was huge, just because we thought we were going to lose him so many times. And so I approached his wife and asked Lori how she felt about having a quick surprise party, and she was 100% on board, and so we pulled it together in about 2 days.
And we did mention that Tom had passed since then, but we did interview Tom and his wife Lori during that party. Let's listen in.
The staff is amazing. Without them, I wouldn't be here. I can tell you that right now. Golly, I honestly, I didn't know 100 days going to get. But here we are.
Every one of these nurses has at every point gone above and beyond, and just made us feel seriously at home. I mean, I have lived here for 100 days as well, and there wasn't a time when I couldn't find a nurse to confide in or cry on.
Well, let's go up to the unit now where this all took place. Angie Racono is there with some of the team members who helped make these moments possible. Good morning, Angie.
Hey, good morning, Jessica. This is really a moving story. We know it's a difficult story, too. I'm here with Maddie Cole. Maddie, explain what you do up here.
Hi, I am the unit educator up on CA10.
And tell us a little bit about the patients that you guys care for up here.
Yeah, we typically see our acute leukemia and allogeneic stem cell transplant patients. These patients are usually on our unit for about 3 to 4 weeks on their initial diagnosis, and then when they come back for transplant, they're about here for about the 3 to 4 weeks again.
So this is a very different relationship. You really get to know these patients.
Yes, that is one of my favorite parts about this job is we get to see these patients through some of their really toughest moments, but also get to celebrate those little wins that are so important to celebrate.
Let's talk a little bit about the party, because you were able to pull this all together, and of course you have cake, you have mocktails, you have a little bit of everything. How did you pull this off?
It was a group effort. We had everyone coming in side by side. We were texting outside of work to say, hey, what can we get? What do we need? And then we also had the help of all of the patient's family members. Our patient, Tom, who we celebrated his 100-day celebration, we had the help of his wife to kind of help keep him in the room. And then when it was time for that celebration, move along here and end up right in here with our celebration.
Yes, so now we're on a little bit of a walk. If you guys can see us, we're going into this room, and this was very much a group effort for everyone.
Yes, we had PT, OT, all of our nurses involved. It was such a group effort.
Yeah, and then here, what took place inside here?
So we had all of our nurse residents, our new grads, all of us were decorating right before, and then to kind of round out that celebration, right as Tom was turning that corner, all of us were in a tunnel to have him kind of celebrate through, and then we had music, we had different streamers and balloons in here to kind of really tie it all together.
That sounds wonderful. 100 days is something to really celebrate. And here were some of the people that also helped celebrate this incredible moment. We have Madison Hera, who's an occupational therapist, and Michael Schmitz, who's a physical therapist. So Michael, I know you were a key part of this. Where did Tom think he was going?
Well, Tom knew he was discharging in the upcoming days, so we told him that he was going the back hallway where the party was located to work on some walking and family training. So Tom just thought it was another therapeutic session.
He was probably really thrilled about that.
Absolutely.
How hard was the work that Tom was doing?
Tom put in so much work throughout his 100 days. For example, after several complications that left him progressively weak, we worked on for several weeks just on standing tolerance, balance, and strengthening activities just to get him back into walking. Tom was then able to walk across the room a short distance for the first time in nearly a month, which was an extremely special moment for him and Lori. That's just one example of how much hard work Tom put in.
And movement is so important for these patients.
Absolutely. Movement is magic.
Yeah. Okay, now I was told to ask you about Friday Thigh Days. What is that? And Madison is laughing at you too. What is that?
Well, I have to give credit to the quote to our rehab tech, John, that works on oncology floors. But essentially, on Fridays, we would provide with the most intense and tough therapeutic sessions to help, or because they would have a little bit of recovery over the weekend. We also wanted to end the week on a positive note and kind of show all the progress he's making. So John kind of coined the term Friday Thigh Days.
Okay, positive for you, but that sounds awful. It was still nice to meet you, still nice to meet you. Now, Madison, I know that Lori was saying it was hard to get Tom out of bed, and we were discussing a little bit of that. Why is it so important for patients to get up and move?
Yeah, I think both physically and mentally, it's just we know that going through the treatment is really hard. There's just in general being in the hospital for that long, a lot of associated fatigue, weakness, complications, and then when you count like some of the medications that they're on and treatment that they're on contributing to that, we just want to reduce the risk of complications as well as get them out of here, get them home through all of this, so they can get back to their lives.
And I would assume you have to give a lot of these patients some pep talks so they have the motivation to do this. Yes. Can you share a little bit about that? What do you say to them?
Yeah, I think that pep talk is kind of our second language around here, to be honest. So our patients are given like a life-changing diagnosis or in the hospital for really long bouts of time and are going through medical treatment that's really hard, makes them feel really sick. But it's just kind of reminding them that we're on their team. Our goal is to get them through this, get them home and back to their life. And so if we have to be a cheerleader, a coach, sometimes the person they don't want in their room, just kind of convincing them we're on the same team, we want to work together. I don't know what they're feeling because I haven't been a patient, but we do know that what we're asking them to do is going to help them in the long run.
What was it like to celebrate 100 days?
It was incredible. I think I probably speak for all of us when I say it was a highlight. We talk about the 100 days. We all know what that milestone means, but we don't normally see that with our patients, let alone spend all 100 of them together. So it was just like getting to be on the ride and working through the really low points and then striving for those really high points to kind of see it through to that more or less end goal, even though that wasn't the end, was just really special. We got to build a really strong relationship. It felt like watching family, honestly, go through that. And even though the ultimate ending wasn't what we had hoped for, there was just still so much value, I think, in getting to be a part of their journey, their family, and getting to be so happy with them on that day.
Yeah, you need to celebrate all those moments. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. I know you're busy and you're treating patients this morning, so thank you for hanging out with us and talking with us. And we will let you get back to work, and Jess will go ahead and send it back to you in the studio.
Angie, thanks so much for taking the time just to shine the spotlight on these folks pulling something like this off for our patients. Dr. McGurk, when I go up to those floors, it just has to be such a sterile environment up there to protect the patients up there who are trying to get well. So to see these party hats and the streamers and all the fun happening up there, it's just so delightful to see. How fun was it for you to watch this happening?
Oh, absolutely. It's what it's all about, as I mentioned earlier, and it's just fantastic. This is what life is all about. Our nurses are among the best people that live on this earth, and that shows through very clearly here. Incredible, dedicated staff, and they go home at the end of the day after their work, and they understand, each and every one of them, what's important in life and what isn't so important. A dent in the car, not so important. These events, the most important.
Important. How proud are you of your staff up there pulling this off?
I truly believe that we have the very best team, and as you've heard so far and will continue to hear, we work so well together as an interdisciplinary team. Madison was like, I'm going to get Tom mocktails because that is something that he and his wife love to do. They went to their local restaurant in Smithville and wanted to hang out there, and we made sure and got him the cake that had cheesecake in the middle because he loves cheesecake. And so it's truly a team effort. We work very closely with our therapy friends and chaplain and social work and our medical provider team, and it's everyone plays a role in making these special moments happen.
And really putting the effort to find those little details
Yes.
that make it so special. Yeah. And you did that because Tom went through so many ups and downs throughout his treatment. Give us a little bit of an idea of what he went through.
Yeah, so as Maddie mentioned, typically our patients stay 4, maybe 6 weeks on the long end of things, and we're able to discharge them. But he continued to have various different complications with his care that required him to go to the ICU for that higher level of monitoring. We take care of incredibly sick patients on CA10 all the time, but he needed more than that. So he needed respiratory support and pressor support at certain times because his blood pressure and oxygenation weren't sustaining on their own. And so I think he had 3 or 4 different ICU stays, and that alone just adds to your risk of complications and your mortality risk, because every time you go there and the longer you stay, the harder it is to get back to your normal level of functioning.
So then, Dr. McGurk, how crucial are physical and occupational therapy for patients?
Absolutely essential. As you heard, this is critically important to get these patients back on their feet, keep them moving forward. That helps the healing process and gets them ready to go home.
Watching these videos and the photos, I keep thinking of Lori, because it's not just about the patients. You're really supporting these loved ones too, right?
Yeah. It's actually why I'm here. That's my wife for this place. I was a patient's caregiver and wife 16 years ago. My husband is a leukemia survivor and had an allo bone marrow transplant, and so that's why I even went to nursing school, was the support of Dr. McGurk and this team that I get to work with every day. And so I really focus on the whole aspect of the family and the care, because I remember being at that bedside and I remember what it was like. And so I really try to bond with those spouses like Lori, and she and I chatted every morning getting coffee or filling our ice water cups. So it makes all the difference in the world to have someone support you.
I was going to ask you if you shared that story with people, because I bet
Yeah,
you that
I do.
makes an instant connection with people.
Yeah, I do. It's really important when you feel like you've lost so much control of every aspect of your life. Like Lori mentioned, she essentially lived with us for 100 days. And so it's like going to a hotel you never wanted to stay at and not getting to go home. And you know what it's like to have your own shower in your own bed. And so I do share that story often. I share it with significant others as well as patients, and just let them know there is hope on the other side. We save a lot of people. These stories we're talking about today, unfortunately, were ones we weren't able to get back into their regular life, but we do save a lot of people, and I'm proof of that. My husband is happy and healthy, and we've had 2 little boys since, and we both have great careers, and we have a great life. So
Oh, I love that happy ending.
there's for sure a happy ending there.
Thank you for sharing that personal story. Dr. McGurk, we've heard this term, this 100 days, this big milestone. So I want you to explain that. Why is this 100-day mark so important? And why does someone need to spend this 100 days with you all?
Before I answer that, I'm going to point out that I talked her into becoming a nurse. She was headed down a pathway of becoming an attorney, for goodness sakes.
Thank God. Oh, my God.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
You got her right back on track.
We saved her life,
You
too.
did save her life, and a whole different meaning.
Absolutely, that's exactly right. But, you know, the 100-day period is a mark of having survived a real roller coaster ride, and that was the case for Tom. And it is for almost all of our patients. As Brittany pointed out, these patients are critically ill, and that goes on for many weeks and even months. And there are setbacks, and patients go home. They have to come back in the hospital with an infection, for example, or having some kidney problems, et cetera. So when most of that roller coaster settles down and it starts becoming a more smooth glide path, at about 100 days. Not always, as we can see from Tom's experience, but for the majority of our patients, life starts becoming normal again after those 100 days.
Well, we want to remind anyone watching us live can send us a question or a comment, because we love having our experts respond in real time. So please take advantage right now of the chat on YouTube or Facebook. You can also email us on the Medical News Network. All of that information can be found right there on your screen. So send us those questions right now. Regardless of the prognosis, all patients deserve dignity. Brittany, tell us how you heard about this special wish for a bedside wedding.
Yeah, this is an incredible story. We already had the 100-day party in motion, and the next day, my unit coordinator popped in and said, we need to have a wedding tomorrow morning too. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And we actually keep celebration boxes on our unit and the unit right below us, which is our sister transplant unit. And so we had quite a bit of that material in there, but we already planned on going to get that cake. And so we grabbed a second cake and ran to the store so that we could make a flower bouquet for Sarah. And just another note to our interdisciplinary team, David, our chaplain, was very close with that patient and his significant other, and so he was able to help facilitate getting a marriage license. He pulled that off in about 30 minutes somehow, and so we had everything together in less than 24 hours for the wedding.
Well, let's check back in with Angie Racono, who is with some of the people who made that wedding possible. Angie, tell us all about it.
Oh, just an incredible moment. We're back here with Maddie, and this is what one of the patient rooms look like here. They're really nice and large up here.
Yeah, we had our rooms specifically designed with our patients and caregivers in mind. So they're really large. There's open space. We have our couches in here for our caregivers that stay with them overnight. And then we also have these amazing views for our patients.
They are gorgeous views.
Yes.
So if you were having a wedding, I mean, this is beautiful. Nobody wants to do it inside the hospital, but if you're here, we do try to make this a super nice environment. We have a couple more people we want you to meet who were very key in helping this wedding take place. We have Lauren Toole, she is a nurse, and David Armstrong, who's a chaplain. Good morning to both of you. Good morning. And Lauren, let me start with you. Why did you want this wedding to take place?
Yeah. Well, I just want to start with first that, you know, every patient here on the floor, they're fighters, and a lot of them have a lot of dreams that are interrupted with a diagnosis. And so with that, this specific patient was in and out of the hospital quite a bit, and his long-term girlfriend was with him the whole time. And so it was a sweet moment that
that day specifically, there were a lot of hard conversations that they had, and just kind of as they could see as time was nearing end. And it was after a palliative care conversation that the wedding was immediately kind of put into play. So I would say I was the nurse that day, but it was definitely a team effort that made the whole day happen.
And we were talking about this earlier. You guys really get to know these patients up here. It's a special relationship.
It is a really special relationship. I think that's what we feel super passionate about, are these moments and building those relationships, and they become family like us with us, honestly. So that day was really impactful for our whole team, just having those moments where you take the patient outside of the patient in the hospital room and make them human and allow them to also experience like light moments and joyful moments. So we definitely saw that take place.
Yeah, okay. So let me ask you about the cake, the ring, the flowers. There was a lot to pull together. Who was in charge of that? Was that Lauren or Maddie, or was that a combination of both of you? Come on over here together. It was a combo. Who was in charge of what?
It really was the whole team. One of our unit coordinators, Bree, that morning that they decided that the wedding was happening, or I guess
That morning.
the day before.
So that's still really compressed.
Hours to get everything ready. But she came to me and she said, "Okay, we're gonna do a wedding. What can we what do we have?" And I was like, "Okay, well, I have a little veil at home. I have some decorations." Brittany, our manager, she went and got a Costco cake for us. We always have some celebrations up here, so we have little flower petals and different champagne flutes to kind of celebrate other celebrations. And then Bree, our unit coordinator, she also went down to our Hallmark store down in the building and grabbed a ring for the wife.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I mean, we can make almost anything happen here. But David, let me ask you about some things, because they really needed an officiant, and then there's paperwork that you have to deal with.
Yeah, Bree called me at about 3 p.m. the day before and said, can you do this? And I said, well, we can find out. So I called the county, and they said, here's how you do it. So I got with Sarah, we filled it out online, and they said they'll do their best to get it to us by the next day. I got back to my office after we got done. I looked at my email, and there it was.
Wow, that is really impressive. Yeah, what stands out for you in this ceremony?
Oh, lots of things, but the thing that really touched my heart was actually after the ceremony, where we were doing the cake, and Tommy took the cake, and he's very weak, and he took it, and he reached up really slowly, and he was able to give some to Sarah. And it was a very touching moment. It really was.
What message did you share? Because I know this is a different ceremony. This is tough.
Well, first of all, that we tried to normalize it as much as we could for being in a hospital room, and so I just wanted to say that it was an honor for us to be present, and that they would allow us to be present, and that was such an honor for us to be there, and that their love was for that day. They're a Christian couple, so their love was like a visible sign of God's love for us that day. So that's a sacrament, and we just really appreciated the opportunity to be there with them.
You guys, thank you so much for spending part of your morning and discussing all of this. I know you're busy, so we will let you get back to work, but thank you very much. Jessica, we'll go ahead and send it back to you.
Angie, thank you so much. What an amazing story to share. Dr. McGurk, Brittany, is this the first wedding on your floor to happen?
It's a second wedding that I'm aware of. Yes.
I keep thinking of Dr. McGurk, like back somewhere, working, doing his thing, and then coming out, and you guys are over here going, yeah, Dr. McGurk, we got a wedding going on down the hall, and just all sorts of spectacular moments happening. Angie touched on it a little bit. Just how do you balance that, Brittany, with just these hard moments? Mm-hmm. This is an end of life time, but it's also an important moment in someone's life. How are you balancing that?
Yeah, I don't even know how to really put it into words, but truly, David had a really strong relationship with this couple. He has supported them over the past year, and they had asked him to perform the wedding ceremony in a different location when we were hopeful that Tommy would be able to recover and have his outside wedding with Sarah. And so it was very meaningful to the couple that that David was still able to perform that ceremony with them. And I think that for my team, it's truly, as I said before, what fills their cup. Mm-hmm. They want to be able to focus on these happy moments, and we had a bout of hard days. We had a stretch of some really sick patients and patients who we've known and taken care of and grown to love for a very long time, specifically Tom and Tommy. And so knowing that they aren't doing as well as we'd hope, it's that much more important, even not for the family and patient, but for my team to be able to celebrate these wins and have these happy moments.
And I love that you were able to find the balance of excitement, because a wedding is exciting. It's an exciting time. And celebrating the 100 days, it's an exciting time. And they shouldn't lose out on any of that. It's a morale booster, right?
Absolutely.
How about your family?
And it's a message. Every minute, every hour, every day, it counts. It's that the here and now. It's precious. Never wish your days away. And I think we gain so much from our interactions with our patients and their families, events like this, but so many other events on a daily basis that don't come to broad attention. But this is the environment that we work in.
I want to get to some lovely comments from our viewers and a couple questions, if I can, this morning. Stuart has one. Does the staff ever organize events to mourn or grieve patients? Has that ever happened?
Yeah. There are some family members who will invite us to the celebrations of lives or wakes for our patients, and a handful of staff will attend those if they feel compelled. But to really focus on supporting our team, we do what is called a monthly pause with our chaplains, and that's where we all come together and have just some time to talk through patients that we've either lost or that we're worried about, and it's really therapeutic for our team members. We're just as close with our chaplains as our patients are, and they really are, they're kind of like our free therapists that walk around and check in on us and really help give us support. So that is a huge moment for us to be able to do that.
Comment from Jill. This is the best spoonful of sugar to help the medicine go down. The staff and these patients are so inspiring. Jeremy says, just wanted to say thank you for doing so much. Typically for everyone I've cared about who's needed to stay at a hospital for an extended amount of time, it's been truly traumatic or heartbreaking and tragic. Creating positive memories and experiences associated with hospital stays instead of just the problem that brought them there is such a big deal. You all are amazing, so please pass that on. Alexis says, this is so sweet, such care and kindness, truly incredible care that is far beyond medicine. Love is the best. Every moment of life should be honored. So anyway, thank you everyone for sharing your comments. What's the big takeaway from these beautiful stories and lives?
I was able to have a really meaningful conversation with Lori on the day that Tom transitioned to hospice care, and we knew his time was closing. And so she and I chatted about how meaningful it is that she has these photos and videos and was able to have this big celebration with his family there. That's not a moment that a lot of people get. And so to be able to have those keepsakes forever is really special to her.
Dr. O'Gurk, what is the big takeaway from this story? Life
is precious. We cure many patients these days with aggressive blood cancers, not everybody, but they matter every bit as much as those that we save, and celebrating every minute and hour and day that is left for them is critically important. And then finally, count your blessings. I count my blessings every day. I truly do. I remind myself every day I work with the best people you could come across in life on earth. And taking care of patients who are contending with the most difficult circumstances that will confront anybody in this life on earth. And it's an extraordinary privilege.
Grateful way to end our week, and we appreciate you and your staff for sharing these stories with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us. And we thank all of our viewers for being with us today, and we'll see you back here on Monday. Have a great weekend. Coming up Monday on the Morning Medical Update. Metastatic cancer can feel like a ticking clock, but advances in treatment are letting more patients live longer, fuller lives, even after a stage 4 diagnosis. I'm Jessica Lovell on the next Morning Medical Update, the procedure that puts radioactive beads directly inside your liver, leaving behind only a Band-Aid. Monday at 8.
Subscribe to our Morning Medical Update and Open Mics with Dr. Stein's podcast. Now everywhere podcasts are available.